I started as a deputy city prosecutor in Long Beach, trying cases, and essentially my goal was to convict the guilty and make them pay. There's an appropriate punishment for every crime, and that's what I did. 10 years ago, I was in a courtroom as a deputy city prosecutor in Long Beach, and there are certain names that you see over and over again. People who get arrested for one thing and they're in court, and 3 weeks later they get arrested for another thing and they're in court, and after a while you get to know some of the regulars, and I remembered the name. I didn't remember what he looked like, but when I saw the name come across my desk as someone who's participating in a program and wanted to get a number of outstanding cases dismissed, my first reaction was one of skepticism, and I wanted to look into it a little bit more. And I'm glad I did, and what I learned was that Michael Shanahan has worked very hard. He's taken on his demons, and so far he's beating them. I'm just proud of him. I think his story is an inspiring story, and I wasn't about to dismiss any cases of his based on a letter. I wanted to meet with him personally. I wanted to hear his own words about his journey. I wanted to hear from his caseworker. I wanted to find out about the programs he's been through. And after finding out about all of those programs and what he's gone through, I was convinced that he has earned a fresh start, and that's what I was going to give him. Well, I think we started from the beginning. I asked you where you went to elementary school.
Right, and I went
where did you go?
At Edison Elementary on the west side of Long Beach, near the courthouse.
And then where did you go to middle school?
I went to Jefferson Junior High.
In Long Beach on 7th Street.
On 7th Street.
And then you went to Wilson High, right?
Correct.
And then you finished at Reed.
Correct.
Also in Long Beach. Those are all Long Beach schools. But I can't remember, you told me where you lived approximately. It was in Long Beach, somewhere in that central area.
Yes, East Long Beach. That's where the foundation is. Pretty much I grew up in that area of East Long Beach.
So where the Substance Abuse Foundation is right now, which is 7th Street and what's the cross street?
Redondo.
Redondo and 7th. So you actually lived and grew up blocks from the substance abuse clinic where you got clean.
In fact, I was right around the corner for many years.
And so was the high school you attended,
Yeah,
Wilson, and also the middle school.
They're both
Jefferson.
They're both on 7th, and so the foundation. That's just the way it turned. That's just the way it turned out. It was my stomping grounds. I grew up in that area. I got most of my arrests were in that area. I dropped out
from Reed
in 11th grade. Yes.
Okay. But you got a job. I want to say, was it with Northrop?
Yes.
What did you do for them?
I was a structural mechanic. So, my stepfather was a superintendent. He got me in there, and it was probably the best job I had. And I blew it. But I was young. Started drinking, staying out late at night, showing up for work late, not showing up. So he fired me. And then from that point on, my stepdad passed away, and I pretty much was a roller coaster from that point on, like from job to job, bar to bar.
How did you become homeless?
Oh well, that's a good question. My drink. Well, I had a dog, and my dog. I could have went places and had a place to stay, but they couldn't accept dogs, so I was not going to give up my dog by no means. And so we hit the streets, and it was pretty cool at first. It was, but it got old real quick. And it was hard on my dog, and my drinking progressed and got worse and worse and worse and worse. And I was going to jail a lot. My dog was going to jail. He'd go uptown, I'd go downtown. So, and I'd get out, and he'd spend more time in jail than I would. But a little over 2 years ago, I was sleeping in a bush on Redondo Boulevard, around 7th Redondo, and I was near death. Everything was shutting down. I wasn't getting any better. But I pretty much felt my life was over as I knew it. I wasn't going to bounce back from this, like I've done prior years, but this time I gave up. But I prayed. I finally asked God for help, and it's strange, but I was willing though too. You got to be willing, and there's a member of a church which is on 7th and Obispo, right across from the foundation, the Substance Abuse Foundation. Well, they got me into a detox, which is Charlie Street. It's well known. A lot of people know about that. And then from there, I went into Salvation Army, and then I went to the Substance Abuse Foundation, which was a good move on my part. Best thing I could have done. But as far as well, I was near death. Mm-hmm. Next to jails weren't working. I haven't been into a recovery before. Just basically substance abuse, second recovery I've been into. But I recovered in Salvation Army, then went there. But put it this way, I was near death.
Homelessness is a problem. It affects people who live in the community. Obviously, it directly affects those who are homeless. But there needs to be more emphasis, more focus put on the homeless population, because their problems are unique. You just can't treat them the same way you treat other crimes. People that have substance abuse problems are not going to learn from what happens to them in court and change their lives. There are different events that are going to change their lives. Mr. Shanahan described a point when he was near death, and I think that was the point that changed his life. It wasn't a prosecutor in a courtroom or a judge. I have to commend him for what he's gone through. I think his story is an inspiring story. When I became city prosecutor a year ago, I learned about the homeless court program. I thought the homeless court program was an innovative and different approach to encourage people to clean up their acts, and as a reward, they get a fresh start. That was different, and I thought that it was worth giving it a shot, so I participated in the program. Prosecutors need to have an open mind. They have to think outside the box, and they have to consider what's behind the behavior, what's behind the problem, what's causing the problem, because our job as prosecutors is to do what's in the interest of justice. And sometimes you have to look a little deeper behind a case to find out what is the right result. In this particular case, and in many cases of people that are in Mr. Shanahan's position, the right thing is to encourage them to get cleaned up and then to give them a fresh start. And I think prosecutors are learning this. I think they're doing it more and more, but I would encourage them to continue to look at innovative new programs that can help get behind the case, look behind the case, look deeper into it, and try to fix the problem. So I would encourage other prosecutors to continue to do that. I would add, I think Mr. Shanahan's story is an inspiring story, and I hope that people hear his story, and I hope they share his story with others, because the more people that hear about this opportunity to get a fresh start, hopefully the more will take advantage of it. It's not an easy process, but if they have the wherewithal to go through it and to complete the process, they can start with a clean break and begin again, and it's in their interest to do that. So I hope people hear about his story. The most important thing I think that comes out of this is there's an inspiration to others. And I think Mr. Shanahan is a very inspiring person. I wish him the best, and I wish others in his situation, I wish the best for them too. And I hope they can conquer the demons the way you have, Mr. Shanahan.
I say, like you said to me, do I consider myself a miracle? I would say that, but I do see miracles all the time coming. People that I see coming to the foundation that are just so downtrodden, just bankrupt, physically, spiritually, have little hope. But I've seen them in a month, 2 months' time, just got their life back. I mean, rebound, got their hopes back, and there is hope. There is hope, and you got to be willing, though, and nothing worthwhile is easy.
He's been through a lot. In fact, what he's been through shows more courage than anyone will ever know. And I have to commend him. I'm happy for you, sir. I hope that you continue on this path, but I think what you've been through and where you're at now in your life is remarkable. Your caseworker called it miraculous. I have to agree with that.
Thank you.
So I wanted to learn more about the program, but Mr. Shanahan has opened my eyes to the problem behind the behavior and how someone can get help for it. And that benefits everyone. It benefits prosecutors by not having these cases, and it certainly benefits the homeless population by giving them an opportunity to get a fresh start.
Well, I'd also like to say, well, if it wasn't for people like Ms. Wall, I mean, I did a lot of footwork. I could say that, but I had a lot of help, and people like Ms. Wall, W. Wall, and the people of the foundation and Salvation Army, and the church.
I agree with all that, but there's one person that needed to make it happen, and that was you, Mr. Shanahan.
Well, I was willing. I was willing.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.